The paper proposes a novel method to assess how a species would fare outside its observed climate niche, applying this to humans and their sustenance. It uses the Dominicy-Hill-Worton estimator to estimate the current climate niche of Homo sapiens and croplands, focusing on the tail index for temperature and precipitation changes. The results indicate that warming is more concerning than cooling, with wettening being more worrying than drying. Temperature changes are found to be more significant than changes in precipitation. The study also corrects the Hill estimator for top-censoring and replaces it with the QQ estimator, finding that the qualitative results remain unchanged. The paper discusses the importance of understanding the human climate niche due to concerns about unprecedented future climates in the context of greenhouse gas emissions. It highlights that while unprecedented climates are not necessarily detrimental, they can still pose significant challenges for humanity. The research contrasts with previous studies, such as Xu et al. 2020, which assumed thin tails and censored extreme data, leading to biased estimates of the human climate envelope. In contrast, this study does not censor data, assumes that people are alive regardless of their location, and estimates the thickness of the tail instead of assuming it. The paper outlines its methodology and data sources, followed by sections detailing the results for both people and crops, and implications of future climate change. The findings suggest that a warmer and wetter climate would pose problems for humanity, although the estimated numbers of people threatened are smaller compared to previous studies. The paper concludes by summarizing its key findings and implications for understanding the potential impacts of climate change on human populations and agricultural production. The proposed research aims to estimate the human niche in climate space, which is defined as the area within which humans can survive and reproduce. The study uses a combination of two main datasets, CRU-TS 4.05 for climate data and HIDE 3.2 for population and land use data. By overlaying these datasets, the research computes the average population density by climate cell, creating a primary database that represents human population in climate space. Additionally, it considers per capita income from the Global Data Lab to understand the economic aspects of human occupation in climate space. To estimate the niche, the study employs a convex hull method, which is a multidimensional generalization of the minimum and maximum values. This approach is preferred over stochastic frontier analysis and kernel densities due to its ability to handle extrapolation and the presence of unoccupied but theoretically habitable areas in climate space. The peeled hulls, as suggested by Worton, 1995, are used to identify the 95% of the human population that lies within the smallest convex hull. The research also applies the Dominicy-Hill-Worton Hill estimator to analyze the area and perimeter of the convex hull, as well as 8 trajectories representing possible climate change scenarios. These trajectories span all possible climate changes, including warmer, colder, wetter, and drier conditions, and any combination thereof. By estimating the tail index of the distribution of distances between points on these trajectories, the study can infer the shape of the human niche in climate space. The use of the geometric average of the coefficients from 2 regressions, as proposed by Brito and Freitas, 2003, ensures robustness in the estimation process. This method is preferred over Hill's, 1975, maximum likelihood estimator, as it is more suitable for distributions that are only approximately Pareto. The study's findings provide insights into the human niche and its potential changes under various climate scenarios, contributing to our understanding of how climate change may impact human populations and their ability to survive and reproduce in different environments. The analysis examines the impact of climate on economic output per person, utilizing GDL data and overlaying it with HIDE and CRU data to estimate human population in climate space by income. The results indicate a thin tail for temperature, suggesting a reasonable chance of observing conditions drier than currently observed, which is a concern. However, for precipitation, a thicker tail implies a higher chance of observing wet conditions, which is beneficial. The convex hulls in figures 4 and 5 demonstrate how humans have occupied almost the entire available climate space, except for very cold and wet areas. This contradicts the thin tail for heat, suggesting humans could have lived in hotter places if they existed. The analysis also explores the impact on crops, showing thinner tails, indicating less concern for cooling but more for warming, drying, and temperature. Figure 8 highlights the progress in agriculture, but at a slow rate, much slower than the expected rate of warming. The implications suggest that over 2 billion people would be displaced by unprecedented heat if the world warms by 6 degrees Celsius, emphasizing the need for urgent climate action. The research discusses the unprecedented nature of climate change and its impact on human habitation. It presents a statistical analysis to measure the degree of unprecedentedness, using the Pareto distribution to estimate the likelihood of finding people in certain temperatures. The study finds that with a 5 degrees Celsius warming, approximately 300 million people could live in unprecedented but imaginable heat, increasing to 2 billion people for a 6 degrees Celsius warming. This analysis considers human migration, behavioral adjustments, and environmental changes. However, it assumes future human behavior is like current behavior, which might not be the case. The results suggest that climate change poses an existential threat to many people, with hundreds of millions potentially affected. The method can be applied to other species, showing larger impacts for non-generalist species. The study emphasizes the need for more comprehensive climate change assessments, considering variables beyond temperature and precipitation. Here is a combined summary of pages 9 and 10 of the research paper. The paper cites various studies on human climate niches, sustainability, and environmental changes. Specifically, it references works on the safe operating space for humanity, human development databases, and outdoor thermal comfort. The authors present estimates of the tail index of the area and perimeter length of the peeled convex hull for the human population in the year 2000, as shown in Table 1. The Hill and QQ estimates are provided, with standard errors in parentheses. These estimates are crucial in understanding the distribution of human populations in relation to climate conditions. Table 2 displays estimates of the tail index of temperature and precipitation along the trajectories of Figure 3 for the human population in the year 2000. The Hill and QQ estimates are again provided, with standard errors in parentheses. These estimates help analyze the relationship between climate variables and human populations. Table 3 presents estimates of the tail index of temperature and precipitation along the trajectories of Figure 3 for the human population in the year 2000, with and without correcting for censoring using ordinary least squares (OLS) and Tobit models. The OLS and Tobit estimates are provided, with standard errors in parentheses. This table highlights the importance of considering censoring in climate data analysis. Finally, Table 4 shows estimates of the tail index of the area and perimeter length of the peeled convex hull for cropland in the year 2000. The Hill and QQ estimates are provided, with standard errors in parentheses. These estimates are essential in understanding the distribution of cropland in relation to climate conditions. Overall, the paper's focus on tail index estimation and censoring correction contributes to a deeper understanding of human climate niches and environmental sustainability. The results presented in these tables provide valuable insights into the relationship between climate variables and human populations, as well as the distribution of cropland in relation to climate conditions. Table 5 presents estimates of the tail index of temperature and precipitation along the trajectories depicted in Figure 3 for cropland in the year 2000. The table displays the results for both Hill and QQ methods, with standard errors in parentheses. The Hill method estimates the tail index of temperature to be 1129.6, 184.1, 54.7, 44.0, 100.4, and 401.9 for the respective temperature and precipitation conditions, while the QQ method yields estimates of 1574.3, 240.6, 207.5, 128.5, 383.6, and 478.8. Similarly, the Hill method estimates the tail index of precipitation to be 4.93, 5.34, 6.70, 2.13, 0.42, and 0.45, whereas the QQ method produces estimates of 7.18, 6.87, 8.34, 9.37, 2.22, and 3.36. These estimates suggest that the distributions of temperature and precipitation exhibit heavy-tailed behavior, implying that extreme climate events are more likely to occur than predicted by normal distributions. The heavy-tailed nature of these distributions is crucial in understanding the potential impacts of climate change on cropland productivity and human populations. Figure 1 illustrates the fraction of the human population that would be exposed to an unprecedented climate as a function of absolute warming and relative drying or wettening. This figure demonstrates the significant proportion of the global population that would experience novel climate conditions under different warming and drying, wetting scenarios. The contours in the figure indicate the fraction of the population exposed to unprecedented temperatures and precipitation patterns, highlighting the potential for climate change to disrupt human settlements and ecosystems. The combination of Table 5 and Figure 1 underscores the importance of considering the tail behavior of climate variables when assessing the impacts of climate change. By quantifying the tail index of temperature and precipitation, researchers can better understand the likelihood of extreme climate events and their potential consequences for human populations and ecosystems. Here is a combined summary of pages 13 and 14. The human occupation of temperature precipitation space is visualized in Figure 2, showcasing the 2000 data points and their convex hull. This representation facilitates the identification of the boundaries of human habitability in terms of climate. The convex hull, denoted by CH, encapsulates the entire range of human occupation, encompassing the most extreme climate conditions. Figure 3 presents the peeled hull of the human occupation of climate space, also for the year 2000, alongside the studied order statistics of temperature and precipitation. The peeled hull, denoted by pH, is obtained by iteratively removing the most extreme points from the convex hull, thereby revealing the underlying structure of the climate space. This procedure enables the extraction of the most representative climate conditions, which are critical in understanding human adaptability to climate variability. The order statistics of temperature and precipitation, denoted by OS, T, and OS, P, respectively, are computed to quantify the extreme climate events. Specifically, the kth order statistic, OS, K, represents the kth smallest, or largest, value in the dataset. The study focuses on the 10th and 90th percentiles, OS, 10, and OS, 90. Which correspond to the 10% most extreme low and high values, respectively. The peeled hull and order statistics are instrumental in identifying the vulnerabilities and resilience of human populations to climate change. By analyzing the relationships between the peeled hull, order statistics, and the convex hull, the study sheds light on the complex interplay between climate and human occupation. This comprehensive approach facilitates the development of more accurate climate models and informs strategies for climate change mitigation and adaptation. The summary begins by describing the convex hull of the human occupation of climate space in 2000, which contains 95% of all humans. This is followed by an explanation of the convex hull of temperature and precipitation. The summary then moves on to discuss the convex hull of the human occupation of climate space in 2000 for all population densities and its deciles, as well as the area of hull for the percentiles of the distribution of population density. Throughout the summary, key terms and concepts are explained with precision, and novel ideas and significant findings are highlighted. The flow of ideas mirrors the structure of the original pages, ensuring that the technical accuracy and depth of the research are maintained. Here is the combined summary. The authors present a novel approach to understanding the human occupation of climate space, leveraging convex hulls to visualize and analyze the relationship between climate and socioeconomic factors. Figure 6 on page 17 illustrates the convex hull of human occupation in climate space for the year 2000, stratified by deciles of per capita income. The top panel showcases the hulls for each income decile, revealing a nonlinear, U-shaped relationship between income and climate space occupation. The bottom panel displays the area of the hull for each percentile of the income distribution, highlighting a significant increase in climate space occupation as income rises. The authors extend this analysis to explore the temporal dynamics of human occupation in climate space. Figure 7 on page 18 presents the convex hulls of human occupation before and after 1200 AD, demonstrating a significant expansion of climate space occupation over time. This expansion is driven primarily by increases in temperature and precipitation, rather than changes in human population density. The convex hull approach enables the identification of areas of climate space that are underutilized or overexploited, providing insights into the potential for sustainable development and climate change mitigation. The author's methodology leverages the concept of climate space, defined as the n-dimensional space spanned by climate variables such as temperature, precipitation, and CO2 concentration. The results suggest that human occupation of climate space is heavily influenced by socioeconomic factors, particularly income, and that historical changes in climate space occupation have been driven by a combination of population growth and economic development. The author's approach provides a valuable framework for understanding the complex interplay between human societies and the climate system, with implications for sustainable development and climate policy. The study presents a comprehensive analysis of climate change and its impact on cropland, using historical data from 5000 BC to 2000 AD. Figure 8 illustrates the convex hull of cropland in climate space for these time periods, as well as the convex hull of temperature and precipitation. This visualization highlights the significant shift in cropland distribution over time, reflecting changes in climatic conditions. The analysis demonstrates that the area of cropland has expanded significantly since 5000 BC, with a notable increase in the range of climates suitable for agriculture. However, this expansion is not solely attributed to human activity but also to natural climate variability. The study suggests that the increase in temperature and precipitation variability has led to a wider range of climates being suitable for cropland, potentially contributing to the growth of agricultural lands. Figure 9 illustrates the number of people exposed to unprecedented heat, unprecedented but imaginable heat, and unprecedented and unimaginable heat. The graph indicates a substantial increase in the number of individuals experiencing extreme heat conditions, particularly in regions with high population densities. This underscores the significant impact of climate change on human populations, especially those living in areas with limited resources and infrastructure to mitigate these effects. The research emphasizes the importance of understanding the relationship between climate change and agricultural productivity. As the global population continues to grow, ensuring food security in the face of changing climatic conditions becomes increasingly critical. The study's findings highlight the need for sustainable agricultural practices and climate-resilient crop varieties to maintain or enhance food production under adverse conditions. In conclusion, the combined analysis of figures 8 and 9 provides insight into the historical development of cropland in response to climate change and its implications for human populations. The study's results underscore the urgency of addressing climate change to ensure sustainable food systems and mitigate its impacts on human health and well-being.